Hello, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a simple camera track. So say we want to render out something that's basically showing this selection of speakers here, so it just moves along, etc. I'll show you how to do that. So what we can do is go to Cinematics, drop down. I'm using version 420, so we will be using the master sequencer. The Matinee, I think, was not discontinued, but it's legacy in about 4.16, not sure. So what we do is we'll drop down the Cinematics tab, add master sequence, give it a name. So my camera track. Obviously, give it whatever you want. You can set a target folder, etc. I just leave it as the default. I'll leave those links. I'll show you how it comes in. This is your duration, so if you wanted the track to be 50 minutes long, you could. So we'll set that to 60 seconds. Create master sequence. So this will bring up a new window, which is our camera sequencer, track sequencer. So what I often do first is just delete these, just because, in fact, delete this whole track. So what we're going to do then is add a camera to the scene. So wherever you have your viewport camera is where the camera will be placed initially. So when we click this tab here in the sequencer, create new camera, you'll see it adds a new camera. And it's still in the same place, but it's the focal length zoomed right in. So I'll just expand this out a little bit, and that way. So obviously for this scene it's probably a little bit too close. So you want to reset your focal length to, say, probably 25 is about right. You can look online for different what's a cinematic focal length. There's loads of different types. They can be very useful. Your apertures, how in focus, is it right? Oh no, ignore that. Your manual focus distance. So obviously what you can do with that is you'll see as I gradually bring it down. There you go. So it's gone out of focus. So generally 10,000 is good enough. So then what we'll do is here you've got these little circles with pluses in. So these are your essentially keyframing. So if you've used stuff like Maya, Blender with the animation timelines, you've got keyframes. It's essentially that. So what we'll do is we'll set for the transform a key. Then what we'll do is we'll move along, say to here, and we're going to move our camera along. So you always want to make sure that the sign camera or the camera you've created is selected, otherwise you're just using the viewport camera, so it won't do anything. So then what we'll do is we've moved along, and let's say we're going to do that, and then we keyframe it again. So as you can see, we've now got a smooth keyframe that when we play it, it's really slow, so we think that's too slow. What we'll do is we'll just drag that last point up. You see it's moving a bit faster, so we can zoom in on that, so we can show a little bit more. So then what we can do is we say, well, we want halfway through it to be zoomed out a bit, obviously not that far out, keyframe. So now what happens is it's not as close, as you can see there, or we can say we want it to go up, and say up and out. So as you can see there, it goes up, comes down. Now, as you can see, that's very, very simple to do. You'll see it sets up a camera cut track here. This is important because when you're rendering out your video, you want to be able to do, you want this camera cut track to be able to do that. What you can also do is say, we've got a camera cut track here. We'll add another camera. So exactly the same principle. Click the camera. So now as you can see here, we've got two cameras. You can double click on these to give them names. So cam 1, cam 2, and what we're doing camera 2, if you click on dots, it moves the timeline to those dots. So what we're doing on camera 2, so we make sure at the end, make sure it's selected, and we're going to zoom in on this one. So create a keyframe again, and then move along and say zoom right into here. Transform, change the focal length to 25. That should do both. Yeah, there we go. So now here when we go to our camera cut track, currently if we scrub between the two, we're only getting one. What we want is this main camera cut track to show the cut between the two. So currently it's only showing the top, our first camera track. And you can see the other camera moving, but it's not doing anything. So what we want to do is select the last dot on the first track we've created, and then what we do is camera, cam 2, and there you go, it's created the cut between the two tracks. And if we just press G there, it gets rid of the cameras. So it's cut between the two tracks. So as you can see, you can add as many cameras as you want here. Always remember to name them, because when it comes to this, you could get absolutely lost, because you could have hundreds of cameras and not knowing what is going on there. So yes, that's a very basic example of how to set up a camera track. Obviously you can do incredibly advanced things. When you go over to like here, you've got camera cranes, rig rails, all sorts. They're all explained very much in detail online, so it might be one of those that I'll do in the future, a tutorial for that. But yeah, so if you found this helpful, please give a like and maybe subscribe. Thanks.